The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. When Jesus said to his disciples, "When the Advocate comes, I will send you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who proceeds from the Father. He will testify to me. And you also testify, because you have been with me from the beginning. I have told you this so that you may not fall away. They will expel you from the synagogues. In fact, the hour is coming when everyone who kills you will think he is offering worship to God. They will do this because they have not known either the Father or me. I have told you this so that when their hour comes, you may remember that I told you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I really love modern day saints. They're saints that we can relate to. So today we celebrate the feast of Saint Damien of Molokai. He was in the late 19th century. He was a Belgian priest and part of a religious order there. And he came over to the States to be a missionary in Hawaii. Boy, he got a tough assignment. But he did, actually. He got sent to Molokai, which was kind of, I don't know if it was called the Devil's Island. That's what they called it. Maybe that's what Molokai means. I don't know. But that was where they housed the lepers. The leprosy ran through Hawaii and the natives back then. And they didn't know what to do with them, so they sent him to Molokai and just, good luck, guys. I mean, they really did cast him away. So Damien went there and ministered to them. And his life is a shining example. I mean, the idea behind in the missions is that you kind of enculturate yourself. You take on the good of the culture. You try to fan into flame what is good, true, and beautiful in the culture and work with it there and not try to conform it to something else. So Damien did that. He did that with the Molokai people to the extent that he himself took on leprosy and died of leprosy. And his story is beautiful, but I want to kind of share with you one of the biggest crosses that he bared, and that was being ostracized himself. Like, he didn't have anybody no one would befriend him in a sense. In fact, they would bring ships in and they'd give him some supplies, but they'd just throw it off onto the beach. And he longed to have a priest hear his confession, and no one would get off the ship to hear his confession. So he would sit and holler up at a priest who was on board, and he would hear his confession. So that was one cross that he bore. That's one of the crosses of the missionary life. But what I like about Damien is okay, and what he did and what I feel like we can do with him is relate to him a little bit. He made himself relatable to those people, right? So we hear of another missionary, St. Paul, today. He did the same, but he's a little bit harder for us to visiting with somebody on the beach about purple cloth, it's a little distant in the past. But anyway, he made himself relatable, and that's what the Spirit does. So Jesus says today, hey, I'm going to send you the Advocate. He will testify to me so that you can then give testimony as well. So that same Spirit pervades all of us in our own little missionary islands, to speak the language of that people, whether it's your family or your work or your community, whatever. Jesus says, I have told you this so that the Spirit who proceeds from the Father, you will also testify to me, right? So we're given that same missionary spirit to proclaim the gospel to those in our midst. It's as simple as that. And how do we do it? Like St. Damien, he smelled like a sheep, to the extent of taking on their disease, just like what Jesus did. Came, took on our disease, sin, redeemed it. So we are called to do the same, to truly take what's good, true, and beautiful in the culture we're set in, and fan it into flame, speak the gospel into it, and draw others closer to Christ, even if it costs us our life.